big part of Luthra and Luthra is Mr. Rajiv Luthra, right? And you've brought in partners, you've created leaders in the legal profession, and you talked about how you give them responsibility with accountability and authority. That's what Mr. Adil Zainullah told you. Now, I have two questions. One is, how do you make sure you create more? I mean, Rajiv Luthra is only one. There's one and only one Rajiv Luthra. But how do you create more Rajiv Luthras, metaphorically speaking, more entrepreneurial, forward-looking, knowledge-seeking deal makers who then grow your firm and make an impact more than grow your firm? Second is, personally, Mr. Luthra is truly multifaceted, as I said. So, Rajiv, is there a bucket list you have in the next 10, 15 years, 5 years? What are the things you want to do? You're passionate about sports. I know in your foundation day last week, which is normally on 1st August, but you celebrated it last week. You brought in Neeraj Chopra and you brought in Charu to talk to him. You were a partner of Charu in the Pro Wrestling League. You're a co-founder with him. So what is it? You're very passionate about water conservation. You're very passionate about nature. Is there a bucket list? Will there be a book on Rajiv Luthra soon? An autobiography or maybe a commissioned autobiography? What is your bucket list, if at all there is one? And how do you create more leaders?
So let me go backwards. I thought of writing a book about 10 years ago. And my topic that I had chosen was liberalization through my eyes. Because when I founded the firm, India hadn't opened. So I've seen it closest. Most frustrating time of my life, but also the most exciting. And so that was I've written 3 chapters. And the final chapter was what now? Rather than just, what should we be doing? Simple ideas in simple ways, like my thought process is. And I'll give you a few that I think if Government of India decides to listen, they can do some wonderful stuff with what we have. For example, so on the book, let me finish that. So then I just, it gets very tedious, this damn book writing and then reading, proofreading and all of that, because I have a manufacturing defect and the warranty period is over. I only read when I'm paid. So when I'm not being paid, I can't read too much. So those 3 chapters are still lying somewhere dusted. But I'll probably get to it one day. It's a lot of work. And, yes. Book writing is not easy. The obvious, Antarctic was one. I've been there. Arctic is the other. We were to go last year because of COVID. We had done everything. Everything was organized. Haven't been. Abhi jayenge maybe next year. I have 2 daughters and my wife is a crazy adventure lady. When we got married, to impress her, I took her for a camel safari from Barmer to the Rann of Kutch, 17 days. And I had never been on a camel before, but impress karna tha nayi bride ko. And there were only 2 people out of our team of 11 which had camel experience. One was Mr. VP Singh's son, the former Prime Minister of India, his son. And the second was my wife. My wife had camel experience because she'd been on a camel on Juhu Beach. That was the level of knowledge we had. And so I've always, I walked from Manali to Leh, 37 days. So a lot of these things I've been doing. I've traveled to most parts of the world and spent quality time in most places in the world. So Arctic is one bucket list for sure that I have to do, and a longish trip, about a month or so. I just don't want to go there and be a tourist. So that's one. The second thing I want to make sure that I do before I pass is to create a legacy of giving back. So a few things we've done in that direction. One is I founded a foundation called Paani Foundation along with one young, hardly known gentleman called Amir Khan. He's the brand ambassador. Sorry?
By the way, who's Amir Khan? Kidding.
एक है यार, एक छोटा सा, very good man, very focused, and if you Google Paani Foundation.in, you'll understand the impact we've made in the last 6 years. Things like this, if we can create these, for example, in my younger days, I set up an organization called Life Foundation, leading India to a fresh environment, along with a young gentleman called Haridev Shori, Arun Shori's dad. And he used to live, he was not far away from me in West End. And Uncle was a really amazing human being. So we did lots of interesting stuff, including noise made by railway trains going through the city and things like that. So longish story. So a few of these things we have been doing, and we've been working very close with Belinda and Bill Gates Foundation, with the Clinton Foundation, with Ford Foundation, and a lot of these. This is our way of giving back, and I want to build that culture from the young. I must very, very proudly tell you, but also sadly, 3 of our people passed away during COVID. One of them has a 2-year-old daughter. Unfortunately, I had a high court order banning me from spending any extra money. So I announced from my own pocket, I will give a corpus of 20 lakhs to build an education and welfare fund for the minor kids of these people from our farm who passed away. I just wrote this. I said, I'm building this corpus, and I appointed 3 people who are, and I'm not on the advisory board or even on the trust. 7 youngsters in the farm said, and you go, 2 lakh tankha hai, 1.5 lakh tankha. Sir, we would also like to contribute to the corpus. It was so hard. I was feeling so happy that here are youngsters, 24, 25, 27, willing to give money to a corpus, something like this. So that culture, if I can bring in, I think I'm pretty much done with my bucket lists.
Thank you so much. God bless you. And jokingly, I'd like to get the Oberoi to do a samosa called Rajiv Luthra. But that's on a joking note. It would have all the kishmish and kaju, badam, and it'd be special. If you ate it, you'd become a better person. But that's on a very jocular note, I hope. But clearly, as I said right at the front, that there's much more to Mr. Rajiv Luthra than his law firm and the legal eagle that he truly is. Back to you, Ashima, for the next set of questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Batra. And what a spellbinding conversation, Mr. Luthra. Thank you for sharing those path-breaking initiatives that you're on with us.